Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Crescent Edges Ambush, and it's available right now. I'll link the only place that you should buy this knife down in the description. It is the Crescent Edges website. Now, the reason I'm saying that differently than I usually do is because there was a huge batch of these that was stolen. I think it was like almost literally stolen off of his front porch. Tons and tons of these. And the idiot who bought them actually posted them on eBay for a little bit. Now, I don't know exactly what happened with that. The owner of Crescent Edges, I guess, has filed a police report. For the time being, I would stay away from any and all secondary market listings of this knife. You should only be buying this brand new on the Crescent Edges website until we hear that those lost knives have been recovered or that person has been stopped or whatever. So just a friendly, sort of public service announcement there. Don't buy these anywhere else but his website. This is a very cool knife. This is the person who brought us the Eternal and the Spade. Very sort of fantasy themed, super high quality pocket knives, but just absolutely wild, with the Eternal looking like something straight out of World of Warcraft, and the Crescent, not the Crescent, but the Spade, looking like it would have been wielded by Ganondorf. Just really, really cool. This is a much more practical, I mean, it's definitely tactical, but it's more of a practical tactical. A much more practical approach, something that's a little more wieldy and a little more proper for everyday carry, but still has that distinct Crescent Edges spice, right? So we're going to talk all about it. Thanks so much to Crescent Edges for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Links for this in the description, and make sure that your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. Isn't that green awesome? My goodness, I love green titanium. Of course, you can get this shadowed out and with the different, I think there's like 4 to 6 different configurations that you can take a look at, both coated and uncoated blades. But anyways, let's go ahead and get a measurement here. The overall length is coming in at, I'm gonna call that 8 1/4. Just about. If you want to count the glass breaker, you could say 8 1/2, but 8 1/4. Blade length in this guy is actually 3.65 inches, and your cutting edge is about 3.3. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur, you can see here, this is definitely a full-size knife. It is not really... It's basically the same size as the Excalibur if you count the glass breaker. If not, it's a 1/4 inch difference. Your cutting edge is very, very close to the same, right? So it's a big knife for sure. Not XL, but it's a big one. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. There we go. Definitely still big. And finally, up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, matching that green anode today. And also the Hogue Deca. How is the action on this knife? My goodness, is this thing smooth. This is a really, really nice. It's not just the fall shuttiness or the smoothness, but the fact that you can barely feel the bearings. That is a really nice luxury smoothness. What I like about this is it's not too quick. It's very, very controlled. It has a distinct clicky detent. You can flip it. You can kick it out using the slot. You can reverse flick it using the stud. You can forward flick it using the stud. You can forward flick it using the hole. You can reverse flick it using the rest of the fuller way down here if you want to. And yes, you can also front flip it. That was a lot of fun. This is a fidgety knife, man. It really allows you to kind of deploy it however you want, and none of the different deployment mechanisms get in the way of, like blade practicality. I mean, even this thumb emerald doesn't get in the cutting path. It just is barely boy, it might be like a 16th of an inch, but it's really, really close there. Not enough for me to come down. I think it's great that he worked all that in there and made it all completely accessible. I mean, look at that. That fuller's accessible all the way down here. So depending on how you like to flick those out, you know, absolutely. The front flipper is kind of a 90-degree angle, but you can still even do it with the side of your index finger if you want to. Really nice. So who OEM'd this is Riyadh. Definitely. I mean, I don't know if it says on their website, but yeah, this is it's unmistakable. I mean, it's one of those that just feels distinctly Riyadh, but extremely, extremely high quality. So very good. Let's do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It is slightly thicker than the Para 3, not bad though. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. It's actually a really easy knife to carry. It doesn't take up nearly as much room in the pocket as the PM2 and really only slightly more than the Para 3. It's not super duper tall. It's just a little bit heavier because it's solid titanium, or titanium's been milled out. Let's go ahead and talk about the materials here before we weigh it. We are looking at titanium. It has been very nicely milled on the inside and the outside. We're looking at a titanium backspacer here. We're also looking at a titanium pocket clip that is milled. And we're looking at a MagnaCut blade, which has been hardened to 62 to 64 HRC. This is the Devil Dog configuration. Now, all of these configurations are available because I received this card before that batch was stolen. So there's 1 or 2, maybe 3 configurations that are not available because some butt wizard yoinked them. So anyways, yeah, 62, 64, that's great. Yeah, that's in that super optimal range for hardness and edge retention on MagnaCut. So that is wonderful. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Remember, 8¼ inches with a 3.65 inch blade. I don't know why we're automatically defaulting to fluid ounces in a lot of videos. 4.4 ounces, that's not bad at all for full titanium and full size. Balance is about right there where you're going to put your index finger anyway, so that's awesome. Let's go ahead and check the blade stock thickness here. Blade stock thickness is, I'm going to guess that's 155. Oh, look at me, professional. I got lucky there. I usually mess that up. So yeah, let's do a hardware check and get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. So we have probably a T8, yeah. And we have a T8 for the lock bar insert screw. We have a T8 for all of the body screws. There's 3 and 2 on this side. This pocket clip is only mountable on one side, by the way. And then there's a hidden screw underneath. Like when you take this out, there'll be a hidden screw for the pocket clip. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. It's pretty minimal and very, very easy to take apart. You only need 1 T8 bit, so that is awesome. Let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes. I really like the Crescent Edges aesthetic. With this being not at all as wild and fantasy oriented as the first 2 designs, it has still got that look. Like he still managed to get that in there and just make it like a lot more practical. I think his captive pivot is a big part of it. This is such a cool pivot. It like sinks in and it has the, you know, the little scoop. I'm not sure exactly how I would describe this, but it just looks so Crescent Edges. I think elements like this are neat because not only does it add one of those like visual indicators, right? There's a lot of visual indicators here for Crescent Edges, but it adds a visual indicator, like brand recognition, things like that. But it's also allowing the pivot to be captive, which means you don't have to do that thing where you've got an annoying adjustment head on both sides or an adjustment head and then a free spinning, female end to the pivot. No, they just worked it out like this. It looks awesome. And there's even a milled flat space to allow this to nest or sit perfectly within this sort of circle right here. It's just very stylish. It's very well thought out. And you can tell Crescent Edges is definitely a designer. And, while going for function, there's an eye for design and an ability to have everything flow together and look like it's all part of the same theme, which is definitely true. These milled areas here are really just like kind of a way to add like a fun pattern down the center line. This is a flat area right here, and then it's plain bevels on either side. I think it looks cool. It's it's going to look good with pretty much any setup, any material, any anodizing. I enjoy it, and most importantly, it doesn't really get in the way of anything ergonomically. The edges are nicely chamfered down, not sharp or anything like that. Pocket clip is a simple popsicle stick style clip. The edge of this might be a little bit, you know, like if you catch a part of your hand on it exactly right, you're like, oh, that edge is slightly sharper than the surrounding edges, but it doesn't really create an issue ergonomically. In fact, I don't really feel it much. Whether you're behind the flipper tab or you're in front of it, this is more of a single knuckle forward choil here. It's complemented by this extended jimping here, and it just feels really, really good. The little breaker on the end here, I don't, you know, normally want a glass breaker. In fact, still, while I recognize it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, usually the reason I don't like glass breakers is they add a visual eyesore. And like the ones that I refer to are like Microtech's weird, like it just looks like a robot taking a crap out of the back of your knife. This I don't mind so much. It's just kind of a big spike, right? I mean, it's just like a continuation of the backspacer itself. It doesn't create an issue ergonomically for me. It is definitely pointy enough to break glass, sure. And I actually think it kind of goes along with the aesthetic here. I think that this actually works pretty well. So I don't really mind it. I don't know that I'll ever, you know, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh man, I love how that glass breaker looks and just obsess over it. It's more of like, I just don't really mind it. It's just there, right? That's kind of more of a personal thing. This is a satin finish blade. You can see in here in the fuller, it's more like, I don't know, like blasted. And then this actually comes out and opens up into the aggressive swedge here on this. You know, it's an aggressive clip point blade, and I think it looks really, really cool. The edge comes down to, I'd say, like medium, maybe. It's a flat ground blade. I'd call this an exactly medium behind the edge knife. Let you guys take a look at that plunge grind there so you can kind of decide for yourselves what kind of experience you're going to have sharpening or how much you care about it. The tip is definitely very, very pointy. Fortunately, this is Magna Cut, which... it's not like ultimate toughness, but it is incredibly tough. Even at high hardness, Magna Cut is super tough. So, I mean, if you're wanting like a super duper crazy corrosion resistant steel with really good edge retention and still really high, you know, toughness, and you really want a clip point blade, Magna Cut's probably the #1 steel. I mean, it's really good. It takes a lot of geometries that wouldn't be able to withstand certain types of use and borderline abuse. And it makes it possible in some cases, right? Now, I'm not saying you can go out and, you know, dismantle train tracks with this knife, but Magna Cut is definitely going to allow that tip to hold up, and you don't have to worry so much about it snapping despite it being pretty thin and pointy. Still use your knives responsibly, obviously. Back spacer is just kind of like plain gear pattern. That's fine. It doesn't need to be anything else. Unfortunately, the pocket clip, like I said, is only for right-handed people. No texturing on the other side. I gotta say, I kind of wish we had done something over here. But in the case of this knife, like being... it's green all the way around. It's kind of distracting the fact that this pattern is not on the other side. And the pattern is not incredibly dominant. It's not like, you know, a texture pattern across the entire thing or anything like super duper exotic. So it's not really that big of a deal. I just wish that we could have seen something on the other side. That's okay. We do have a steel lock bar insert doubling as the over travel stop right here. So that's good. We have no lanyard thing at all. Sorry, lanyard people, all 7 of you left. We have, the stop is actually located, it's inside, it's attached to the blade and running on little channels carved out on either side of the titanium, so that's nice. 2 points of contact. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No double clutch. No pivot lash. Extremely smooth and consistent in here. And a nice clicky D10. I believe this has remained centered the entire time. Yeah. This is a really cool knife. It's not necessarily insanely different from other things that we have out there, but for people who really enjoyed the first 2 models from Crescent Edges and just really wanted something that, you know, I'm sure there are plenty of you out there who EDC your Spade and your Eternal, but they are not set up for, you know, like convenient use and especially maintenance over time. Can you imagine sharpening either of those things? Oh my goodness. This allows you to carry that cool, almost fantasy tactical look but it's ultra premium materials, ultra premium tolerances, and it is an edge that will be far easier to maintain over time. Definitely a good, super high quality knife, but it's also an expensive knife. This is a Riot build, and it is not necessarily a simple build. Yes, we have MagnaCut and S90V knives in titanium that are made by Chinese companies that hover around the $200 mark. If you handle those and then you handle this back to back, it's very clear that extra steps were taken in this guy. So this is definitely a step up. It still feels a little high. I think I would have liked to see it around the $325 to maybe $350 mark. That being said, Riot is one of those companies that will definitely take their cut. Definitely. They have some examples of knives where they don't charge quite as much. I'm all for Crescent Edges getting their, their rightful share because they are a business and they'll need to make money on these drops in order to continue. So when you collaborate with Riot, you should expect Riot pricing plus more because they have to pay you and they're probably not going to bring their prices back in order to, accommodate. So I can kind of understand it. This comes in at $365. That is a really high price, but it is not outside of what we typically see from Riot, and this exhibits all of those high quality Riot traits that we expect anyway. So I can understand the price tag. I'm not super duper upset about it. I think honestly, anybody who does pick this up is really going to enjoy it. The aesthetic is not going to be for everybody, and obviously at $365, this is not a knife that is built for everybody. That's like I've always said, the price of diminishing returns on a pocket knife is still probably somewhere around $150 to $200. I mean, even I said that 7 years ago, and I still think that, honestly. So when you're up here, you're definitely buying more than utility. You're buying some special things. You're buying some materials that we don't need on a knife. We just want them, right? You're buying that extra machining and that ultra premium tolerances and things like that. That's what you're paying for. And the people who are shopping this territory absolutely know that. Are you getting that with this knife? Yes. You're getting a super, super awesome piece of cutlery. A lot of people might call it pocket jewelry, but it is definitely capable and fully functional and made very, very well. So, a knife that I would recommend specifically for people looking for that. But this is a competitive territory, and there are definitely a lot of choices. But this is good. If you made this choice, I think you made a good choice. That's going to be it today, guys. Thanks so much to Crescent Edges for sending this in. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.